Experts agree about the impact of rock and roll on American culture.
We can't help but stand on the shoulders of giants. It's about the excitement of hearing something that just gets to you.
While many have sung about rock music, some fear we may no longer have rock and roll.
Rock is dead.
Some fear rock will die, including KISS co-founder Gene Simmons, who made that statement to Esquire magazine in 2014. Rock purists can only hope the lyrics of The Who will ring true.
Long live rock. Be dead or alive.
The origins of rock are rooted in British and American influences, according to Nashville musician Jim Photoglow.
The real sort of birth of rock and roll is somewhere tied up in Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley.
Photoglow, who has played with Carole King, the Everly Brothers, and Michael McDonald, says the 1960s English invasion of music involved artists influenced by American rock and roll and blues.
Chuck Berry is all over the Rolling Stones. I mean, if you listen to the essential Keith Richards guitar licks, very influenced by Chuck Berry.
Photoglow recognizes the influence of many early bands.
If it weren't for like the Rolling Stones, perhaps there would not have been an Aerosmith. And if there wasn't an Aerosmith, perhaps there wouldn't be a Guns N' Roses.
Hey Jude.
Music experts from MTSU, Belmont, and Tennessee State University, who we will hear more from later, agree. The early days of rock went through a huge transition with the arrival of the Beatles.
Historically, you can see they came over here at a time when American pop music wasn't quite too exciting.
For most baby boomers of that age, it was pretty much a seismic cultural occurrence. Nobody moved so far, so fast, and took so many people with them. They're influential, but it's hard to replicate what they did.
It's been a hard day's night.
MTSU professor of music business and popular music studies, John Dugan, teaches a course on the Beatles.
They were commercially successful throughout the entirety of their career. They took enormous creative risks, and I think the legacy is the fact that you can be commercially successful, be true to yourself as an artist, and still take risks, and not necessarily worry about how your audience is going to react.
I wanna hold your hand.
Belmont University music professor Don Cusick says the Beatles impacted many and had a Tennessee connection.
You say you want a revolution, well, you know.
I know a lot of songwriters, musicians were heavily influenced by the Beatles. A lot of Beatles songs were cut in Nashville. Ringo came here to record. Paul McCartney came here, stayed about 6 weeks and did some recording.
I read the news today, oh boy.
Nashville musician and songwriter Brian Cumming has a unique view of the British influence on American music.
You can't really tell the story without talking about British musicians responding to American music and creating something of their own that was very influential and popular, and yet it was rooted in American music that had sort of been ignored in America.
Cumming, who has played with a variety of stars, including Sha Na Na, Billy Vera, and KT Oslin, says the stages of rock music include many innovators from Hendrix, The Doors, and The Stones.
The Stones have really made an impact, and they really created a style and a sound and something that really has genuine validity and influence. Hendrix may have been popular, but he was very different, and he just had a unique vision, and he turned out to be a really gifted guitarist and musician. He was such a force of nature that he was a tremendous influence.
The 1960s and 70s produced many unique and influential artists. Musicians Photoglow and Cummings say there is one key element that has made rock music unique.
As songwriters, the term "the hook," that just means what catches your ear, what's memorable, what keeps coming back, and very often it is a guitar lick. Satisfaction has a classic guitar riff. Jimmy Page was a master of the memorable guitar lick.
If you search the most 100 memorable rock songs, Led Zeppelin tops many lists.
Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin are a great example of, he's a practitioner of the guitar lick that becomes the basis of the song.
Cummings says Led Zeppelin featured the prototype guitar riff-based approach that characterized hard rock of the 1970s.
The Zeppelin stuff is as much a bunch of guitar music that is so gripping and powerful and earthy and influential as it is a song.
With a purple umbrella and a 50-cent hand.
Robert Plant is kind of the ingredient that turns it into a song.
A radio station locator website lists more than 500 stations in the U.S. playing classic rock.
I'm ready.
Rock music has been used in TV commercials, to radio talk show intros,
104.5 The Zone, 849, the McDonald's Wake Up Zone. Welcome back. Alongside Mark Howard and Frank Wycheck and producer Brandon Haggerty, I'm Kevin Ingram.
Yeah, we use it, from time to time, play 15, 20-second snippets of those songs. And I think it's kind of fun for people who listen.
to TV theme songs. So, is classic rock dying? TSU music professor Mark Crawford says the future of rock may not include the types of bands we knew from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Sadly to say, maybe in this day and time, their musicianship is above their audience, at least to an audience who's used to making quote-unquote music on a laptop. It doesn't really require a melody.
MTSU professor Amy Macy and musician Jim Photoglow look at what's ahead in an age when many rockers are making their money touring on the oldies concert circuit.
Now that we are in a cherry-pick society where if we like a song, we'll go hunt it up on iTunes and download it.
You can go on The Voice and suddenly become famous and never have set foot in a club and honed your craft that way.
For classic rock fans, maybe musician Neil Young said it best.
Rock and roll is here to stay.
I'm Terry Likes. You're listening to Tennessee Matters on the Tennessee Radio Network.